does creativity mean to me? It's a sense of exploration first, because it took me down the path whereby I was trying to find out what was going on, and it was more of an adventure to just better understand the types of elements that I can pull in and that I can use. And then later it evolved to something like a shape that I could assume for myself. And I'm really selfish in saying this because I'm trying to define my own style in terms of creativity so that I can have my own unique fingerprint in how I come about in creating things, right? So creation first started for me with images. I'm very analytical of images, especially images of in the 90s and the 80s, of different types of characters. Japanese art, Chinese art is things that I'm particularly interested in right now. And I'm just trying to understand that from a viewer's perspective, what I can draw from that, right? And then also use that inspiration in order for me to then edit the videos that I create for my bin cleaning service, because that's where mainly I then play around with my creativity. So what role does creativity play in my world? A deep sense of curiosity, right? Enthusiasm, and I'm pulling from nature also. I'm very deeply rooted into what's going on in and around us, right? Life is very mysterious. Everybody's just trying to find it themselves, and the role that it plays, that it keeps me young. It keeps me, I have this youthfulness about me as I create and I come up with different ideas. Sometimes these creations just exist in the mind, and it's good just to get them out in the world, just to see that how would people react to them also, because your audience are the people that are viewing it, and they get to share their perspective of it, So, and in deep sessions where I'm just debriefing with my brother, we get to just understand that is there development in what we are doing, right? Are we moving forward? What can be changed? What cannot be changed? And what cannot be changed is not a limiting belief, is that if something works, you keep it part of the system long enough until you can replace it when it is inefficient no more. So in the business sense, in the business space, right, you're just trying to communicate clear messages, but in a real short form, because yet again, what I see what's going on with society, that the concentration span has waned, right? So in that being said, we just have a limited time window in order to create what we wanted to create, but yet again also we're trying to break that boundary, and we want to capture people that want to stay long enough in order to view and see what we have prepared for them. So even in the role that I do, because I'm currently also employed, the use of words, that's where creativity comes in, because I need to then elicit a particular action from the customer that I'm dealing with. So I need to think creatively of how would I choose my words in order to get that particular outcome, or even start a conversation in order for us to proceed with a particular project. So that's just how I use creativity in my role, in my everyday life. Some words of encouragement is that you need to be yourself, and in order to be yourself, you need to learn about yourself. I read a lot of self-help books. I'm still reading till this day, just to better understand wisdom and just to better understand what is going on, especially these psychological books about ourselves as human beings on this earth. And once you just better understand yourself, you can root yourself like a tree and stand firm, and then that's where you start then bearing fruit, right? And once you start bearing fruit, you attract different types of people that align to what you do. If I'm still using the tree analogy, but yet again, you then start to exploring your deepest depths, and you also acknowledge that what you have to share is valid, is relevant to what's going on right now. There's a sense of patience that you also should understand when you are creating anything. Everything is your life work. Things just take time, I'm reading this book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and they say that anything that you view in your head, right, already exists. We just need to then create it and make it reality. So reality is just trying to catch up to the ideas and the thoughts that we have, and based on intent, of course, and based on consistent effort, your idea will come about the way that it should, and it might even come about differently because reality always seems to bend the rules, but what you were trying to achieve eventually comes about. So being yourself is the most important thing, so that you can also find comfortability, and then you can remove unnecessary pressure, because at times this pressure can cause us to self-sabotage. We make decisions based on our emotions also. So there is a lot of things that is going on in this human mind and in the world also that can affect you. So finding yourself and understanding the type of person that you are, you stand from a point of victory rather than defeat, right? Because now you know that anything that you are working on right now is what you are comfortable with and is right. As long as it's right to you, and you trust and believe in whatever that you are doing and what you're creating, whether that is business-wise, whether you're in the art space, right? That is good. That's